All right. So thanks, folks, for joining in. As you might have heard me and Jeevan talking about this entire shift of how it's important to feed in data to all of these social platforms moving forward. And we will definitely uh, deep dive into why this is important. How can you do that? What are the consequences and impact of it? Especially when it comes to you as an advertiser asking these questions on how can you lower your CAC, how can you really get the right customers in knocking your doors, how can you really make sure that the return on ad spend is optimal enough for you to start more investment. So we'll deep dive into this. So as we move along the session, if you have any questions, feel free to drop in, and with that we will get the show started off. All right. So, uh, folks, we come from the company called Lifesight. We're proud to what we do here. We are primarily have been in the space of marketing measurement, helping really modern marketers drive their acquisition efforts much better, reach the customers that they always look for, measure the outcome that they can from all of these measurements. And we are also here to primarily enable what can you do to strive to be a better marketer moving forward. So today's topic is all about conversions API and how you can leverage that, right, to get more primarily revenue into the doors, right, in the end. So to start off with, right, what is the problem, right? So in the recent times, a lot of people before 2019, especially before even Meta tried to bring out the conversions API, we were relying on a pixel, which is a simple code base, which used to lie on your browser, and it used to track all of the events on your browser, right? That may be your customers coming, checking your product out, or checking your you know, like any sort of downloadable if you're in B2B, right? Or doing any sort of a purchase event, right? Or trying to show some interest in your product, right? So all of these events, which is primarily what users did on the browser, used to be easily trackable, right? Out there. And it used to give all the intelligence possible for you to retarget. But no more that's the case with a lot of consumers wanting privacy, wanting to make sure that they're not shown the ads. So ad blockers have come into play. You can choose what to be shown on your face. We're gonna see all the cookies which other social platforms drop on your website. It will have its decline when it comes to the ability to track all those events. We're seeing some browsers like Safari, Mozilla really refresh these cookies, and that means that the reliability of for you to figure out your own user coming back to your website will diminish moving forward, and you won't be able to recognize them, right? And this is something which should really keep you alert and have a wake up call to change moving forward, because this is not something that you can really rely on, because this will create a lot of signal loss across the way for you to track all these customer journeys. And you will be really struggling to understand your customers better. And with that problem comes on how can you really get them back, right? Because every customer comes in different stages of the journey, from awareness to consideration to purchase and post-purchase. At every point of the game, you need to be really talking the right language, selling the right value towards them, and it's important to do that wherever they spend their time apart from your website, right? And that's where pixel tracking methods will see a decline moving forward, and we're going to deep dive onto what can really solve this problem, right? So, uh, uh, when this started to become a huge problem in the recent times, Meta and other platforms have come up with conversions API, right? So what is this primarily, right? You have your customers coming on your doors. Your family seeing that you're not able to, really track them properly, and you have this entire need of, trying to retarget them better, right? Trying to find better customers in the same platforms, and the data that you're providing back to Meta, especially using a pixel, is very out there, top of the funnel, right? It's just tracking events on what's happening on the browser, but in the end, your customers are going to buy from you. In the end, your customers are going to engage with your email. They're going to buy again. They're gonna make sure that their profile has a purchase order in the end, in the back end, and you will also have to make sure all of these events are passed on to these platforms so that you know when to really get them back, what to really provide to them, right? And this is just not talking about just the purchase information here. It's also important to understand where does it come from, right? Like what location are they in? And all of this information, especially you might take it during purchase time, especially if you are in e-commerce. But when it comes to other businesses as well, this is something which you will be doing below the funnel, right? After understanding who your customers are, and this is where a shift from just client-side tracking to server-side tracking needs to happen. And when you start doing a lot of server-side tracking mechanisms, you really have to make sure that with a lot of data coming into your system day in and day out, both on the browser level and towards your lower funnels, it needs to be fed in real time back to Meta and TikTok on Pinterest or whatever it is. And to do this, you will need Family, the conversions API, right? So while you do this, you also have to make sure that you measure your outcomes and respect user privacy so that you're not really, again, spamming them, like we used to do before. So all of this information needs to be fed correctly to the system so that, user feels good about it, user feels private, also user feels safe enough to even trust you as a brand, right? Yeah, or as a business. So why are people moving towards conversions API, right? So a few of the things I told you about comes into play where it is able to track other conversion related events and directly provide that to your paid platforms, and you can take control over what you send, right? So primarily on the Pixel end, Pixel is supposed to do a job of taking these events and just providing that, but you really can't program the pixel to do what it wants, the kind of data it wants to send. So that's where conversions API really comes, and it can really help you. You can control what you can send back to the ad platforms. And then, as I also brought out, that uh, there needs to be also a secure connection from your server side to the ad platforms, and that needs to be done again very securely, and that's where an API can really come into play. And you have to make sure that these connections are made. Usually, to do these connections, you will sit with a lot of engineers sitting, but we're not living in that world anymore, right? We in Lifesight really can help you, just like connect your systems, and within a toggle of a button, this will be done for you, right? And then Family, apart from, as I was saying, just the payments, you will also do a lot of events as we are doing right now, right? If somebody is attending here, that means that you're already engaged with a business, and it's important for the marketer. You need to be sending for example, the next thing that somebody would do is primarily send a nice case study over, right, to the customer, and this needs to be done also real time. How much can you really do this manually moving forward? And you can't really grow as a business if you keep doing this, right? So that's where conversions API really gives you that power over the pixel, right? And with ad blockers coming in, Pixel really can't, as I was saying, it can really not help you to capture the right events. But with Conversions API, that's not the case. You can primarily capture what you want, and you can send what you want. But nobody's gonna block you there, and that's where the power goes back to you as a marketer, right? So, what are the conversion events? Coming back, if you're a BDC business, you will have your majority of the customers will look at viewing your product or signing up for your email, doing uh, adding some products to your cart, right? Initiating a checkout purchase, and in a B2B business, you might have people reading your content, you might have people downloading all that amazing guides and playbooks that you make, or you might be attending an event, or you might be submitting for a demo. And these are all important phases again to capture in real time as many customers come in, and so that eventually when you go back after this event on LinkedIn or wherever it is, you will be able to actually see the right kind of ad possible, for you to interact back with the brand, and it's a very good recall value that you build. And that's where it's really important as well as a marketer for you to know what are these conversion events and send this in real time back to the channels where your consumers hang out most, right? So why are all of these platforms gunning for it? One, with uh, they in order to really, you as a marketer, your main role is to primarily, reach the right messages to your customers, understand them much better. That's where, this can't be done on the meta, and meta can't really understand your customers more than you, right? And that's where they are gunning for it, because they are here to serve you. They want to make sure that you invest more money and run ads on their platform. They want to make sure they provide all the arsenal for you to acquire customers. And that's where they're gunning for you to connect to their systems and provide that enrich user data. Their targeting just becomes more better for you to for you to use, because they have more context with respect to who is buying from you, where they're buying from you, and you'll be able to easily retarget, segment your customers better. Audience it will be getting like formed in these platforms, so that you can again send those personalized ads in front of them. And all of these platforms sit on a very major scale called as the event match quality. What does this mean? We'll take this to the next slide. So uh, primarily, every platform has this attribute, right, which they look for, especially from a business, right? That can be primarily users' email IDs, that can be users' phone numbers, that can be where they're from, that can be, what did they buy, what product did they buy from you, and all this. And that's where, they'll be able to understand your customers a lot better, and their ability to primarily, again, get those customers become great. And that's where this framework called as event match variety comes into play in every platform that you see, so that the more data you provide them, the more their event match variety increases, and with more event match quality, there's better retargeting capabilities for you, right? Uh, uh, some of the harmful things that I think you need to address, especially if you have a lower event match quality, is hey, uh, uh, because you will not be able to get the right kind of customers. That means you'll need to spend more, right, in order to reach those customers, and then out of those, percentage of those will either convert or not convert. So again, you're sitting with the same problem of spending your ad costs in a bigger fashion and no conversions. And you don't want that as a marketer moving forward. Even as a marketer, you really shouldn't be doing this, right? It's a bad way to really do advertising moving on. And two, with with higher CAC, it comes a lot of pressure as well as a marketer for you to make sure that each lead that you get, even because of that CAC, is good enough, right? Or each conversion that you get is higher enough, and that's a lot of pressure. To be really frank, me and J1 here, we have done ads, we've seen other brands do ads as well, and this is a very common problem which we see across the board, which people want to solve for, right? So what are some of the parameters which which really helps you improve this event match quality are primarily listed here, right? Uh, Along with this, you will also see a lot of like platforms like Lifesight. We definitely help you provide more information to improve this event match quality. G1 will definitely talk about this moving ahead as well. But what is really the key point here is uh, uh, for you to be aware of what you need to really send to make sure that your event match quality keeps becoming higher and higher. And in the end, it's good for you to get those conversions in, right? So, what is the necessity here, right? What are some of the foundations here to be able to get event match quality? One, making sure that, yeah, you're doing server-side tracking. We will deep dive on this again in the next slides coming. But with server-side tracking, it just because you're tracking, it's not enough, right? You need to be able to make sure that this data is very accurate as well when you're tracking server-side, and you need to be able to send those. And we will again speak about how do we do that. Two, with all of your customers interacting on your website or across your journey, you will come across a problem where all of these events are sitting in different tools, and all of that also needs to be attributed to your users and sent back again to Meta and Pinterest so that they understand where is your customer, and you will also be able to have more control in what to provide for them. So with that, I'll give the stage to G1, who will speak more about server-side tracking and how do you go about enriching this user data and send it through the conversions API.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Ashish. Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate on what you were saying, right, on why exactly conversions API are required, why is it essential, right? Now, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, all of these various ad channels aren't really aware of all of the various conversion actions or conversion events that are taking place on your store or your site, right? So when people are adding products to cart, which is the add to cart event, or when they're initiating their checkouts, which is the checkouts create event, or when they're making purchases, or when they're requesting for demos or signing up for events, all of this information is not visible to all of these different ad channels, right? So which is why it's essential for us to be able to send all of these conversion events back to Facebook, back to TikTok, so that they can finish the loop on their end, right? Of course, now this is technically kind of possible with the pixels, with the Facebook pixels, with the TikTok pixels, and so on. But like you were saying, Ashish, these are highly unreliable, right? There is no guaranteeing that all of these events that I just spoke about get captured through these pixels. And these pixels and trackers cannot directly bring in server-side events, right? So when I say server-side events, things like purchases happening or subscriptions that are on your store. So there's no direct way for these pixels to capture this event and then send them to Meta or TikTok. Of course, there are roundabout ways of doing this for the pixel, but again, since it's so unreliable and it's very much of a hassle to actually implement something of a server-side event sending through these pixels. So, which is why conversions API implementation is essential, right? Also, additionally, like you were mentioning with the pixels, there's a lot of loss of data, right? Potentially, because There are browser restrictions, there are third-party cookie restrictions. So you probably won't be able to capture all the information that you would want to capture to send to a Meta, to send to a TikTok, which is, again, a reason for why we would need to have this server-side implementation of the conversions API. This is where this server-side implementation would prove to be very beneficial, even essential, I would say. Like you were mentioning, there's no real blocking when you're doing the server-to-server implementation. All of those restrictions that we're talking about with the Pixel, they do not apply to server-side, right? And of course, when we're sending more and more information, more and more of conversion information to all of these different ad channels, to a Meta, to a TikTok, for example, there's constant learning happening on their ML models, which allows for optimization of the algorithms on their end, right? So the more information that we provide, so let's say there's conversion happening in a particular location, what kind of devices are people actually making these conversion events on? Where exactly are they from? What kind of user characteristics do they have? So when we're feeding all of this information to Meta, to TikTok, their algorithms improve, and of course the retargeting just gets much better, right? And of course, when we're providing all of this contextual information, there's also better attribution on these channels as well. And of course, the more events that we send, there's constant improvement of event match quality as well. And like you were mentioning, all of those various parameters, the more of those that we send, the better the match quality would be, right? And that's where something like Lifesight can come in and allow you to enrich all of these events and send more and more of that data. So talking about the parameters that we could potentially send, Ashish, we can go to the next slide. You'll be able to see all of those various parameters that we can capture and send to the conversions API, right? So essentially, we would need to send either an email or phone, or a combination of IP and user agent as mandatory fields. So one of these three should exist when you're sending to the conversions API. And providing additional contextual information only makes it better for the advertising channels that you're sending this information to, right? So when you're sending things about the location, like the city, the state, the zip code, the country to Meta, Meta knows where exactly, or what's the optimal location for all of your different ads, for example. Right? And when you're sending a lot of other contextual information as well, like device information and so on, Meta also understands who are the kind of users who are actually converting. And this leads to just better retargeting on Meta, on TikTok. And that allows you to get the most out of what you're spending on those channels as well. Right. So here you can see we are sending most of the information, right? So we're sending emails, your phones, the first name, the last name, gender. So the more information that you share with Meta or TikTok or Pinterest, the better it is for you, the better match quality you'd get, and the better the retargeting would be for your ads. And I think we were talking about this just before the call as well, Ashish. It's essential, right, to build out integrations to various ad channels, because you usually wouldn't be running all your ads on one channel, on Meta or TikTok. So although we were just talking about just Meta, there are all of these various ad channels that come into the picture as well. And it's essential for us to be able to build out these pipelines for all of these channels. So when I was talking about sending conversion events to Meta or TikTok, for them to complete the loop, you'd also need to be sending these events to all the ad channels that you have, so that you get the most out of the marketing efforts that you're doing there as well. And that's why building this out is essential. You'll soon see when I talk a bit about how Lifesight does this for you, how easy it is for you to actually build out these data pipelines as well. Yeah, one additional thing the conversion API also does is enhance first-party data adoption. It's almost a mandate by Facebook for us to be sending only first-party data through the conversions API. So if I were a marketer, I would be wary of all the other platforms that say that they're sending third-party data through the conversions API, because that's technically not allowed. So what this does is, when you're sending more of your first-party data, more of your website's data or your store's data, you are allowing for hyper targeting being possible, right? So it's your data, it's your contextual data that you're sending to Meta or to TikTok, and that allows them, that optimizes their algorithms to actually personalize ads based off of your contextual information that you're providing. So this allows for a lot of hyper targeting, and of course, this data management of data. It's your data, so it's all adhering to privacy regulations. It's first-party data. So you'll get most out of all of your conversions that are happening, most out of your marketing efforts, just purely through your data alone, right? And that's where CDP comes into picture. CDP like Lifesight, right? We were talking a lot about how we would need to be sending all of those various attributes: email, phone, IPs, user agents, browser IDs, click IDs. So all of those need to be sent, and having a CDP allows you to have a single source for all of those data touch points. And you'll be able to enrich all the events that you're sending, all of the different conversion events, with that data that you have in your CDP. So that's what Lifesight does as well. So you'll be able to enrich the conversion events with, let's say, an IP, with the user agent, with device information, with location information, which just makes it much better, optimizes all of these various algorithms on all of your different ad channels. And that's what the CDP offers: a single place for all of your data where you can easily enrich it and then build out direct integrations to all of your ad channels, right? So you'll soon see when I go get into a demo as well, how easy it is to actually integrate with all of these different channels. It's quite simple, and that's what a CDP would enable, right? You're collecting all of this data, putting into one place, enriching all of that data, and sending it to all of your various ad channels. So when we saw that slide of building out those different data pipelines to Pinterest, to Twitter, to Meta, to TikTok, to Print, to any of the other ad channels, all of this could be taken care of by a CDP that has the capabilities to integrate with these ad channels. Right, so let's talk a bit about how implementing the Conversions API with Lifesight will help you out, right? So like I was saying, what Lifesight offers is the CDP, right? So it allows you to enrich all of the different events that you're performing, all the different events that your users are performing on your store or on your site. So when they're making a purchase, when they're adding stuff to cart, when they're initiating checkouts, when they're registering for demos, when they're registering for events, when they're signing up for your newsletters, all of that information is enriched by Lifesight, right? So all of those restrictions that we spoke about with the Pixels data collection abilities are not present with Lifesight because we've built a robust first-party identity graph, right? So even if you're unable to directly capture this information for the event from the browser, from the Pixel or trackers that you've set up, you'll be able to actually enrich it from the first-party identity graph that we built out, right? So that allows for higher coverage of all the essential attributes that we just looked at, all those click IDs, which in Facebook's case is the FPC, for example, or your browser IDs, which in Facebook case is your FPP, all your IPs, your user agent, all device and location information. All of this is enriched by Lifesight, and it's enabled through our first-party identity graph, and that allows for better enriched events being sent to all of these different ad channels. And of course, since we're enriching it, like I was just telling you, having all of these additional attributes would always improve your event match quality, right? So the more attributes that you send to Meta, the better the event match quality would be. So when you're using Lifesight enrichment, you're in turn ensuring better quality of events being sent to all of these channels. And also the CAPI implementation, the Conversions API implementation of Lifesight is server to server. So it's not affected by all of the browser restrictions and client-side restrictions that we see that the Pixels and all the various trackers are susceptible to, which is what makes this a very clean and efficient process.
Awesome. Now that we've told, let's show them, right, Johan?
Yep, let's do that. Okay, let's just go ahead, share my screen. Perfect. So I'm guessing you're able to see my screen. You should be able to see what is our platform. This is Lifesight that you see. I've currently opened up our Facebook integration. So I've integrated with Facebook, and the integration is quite straightforward, right? It's a one-click integration in one process. If you're logged in, it's just a couple of clicks and you're already set. And what you see here is the conversion events that we've sent out for a particular store that we set up. So we've set up a Puppman store, which sells pet food, and you'd be able to see all of the different B2C events, things like customer registrations, add to carts, page views, content views, order places. So all of these different events that have been sent for today, you'll be able to see those. And this is directly being set up through our conversions API implementation. And like I was saying, like Ashish was mentioning as well, the simple toggle kind of setup. That's exactly what this is, right? So you could even test out your events, or you can just directly go live with the events that you would want to send. So there's control over the events that you can send as well. There's no restriction on what you can what you would need to send. With the pixels, there is that restriction where you can find to sending what the pixel would is sending for you. But in case of our implementation, you can choose the events that you would want to send. And it's a simple process. You just put in your pixel ID, put in your access token. And for this demonstration, let me go into test mode so that I can show you guys all the events that land into our business manager account, right? So I'll just quickly toggle this off. I'll use the test code from my business manager here. I'll just copy this. I think it should be the same. Yes, it is. So I'll just save this. And now all of the events that I've checked below, I can perform those events or actions on a site that we set up. And all of these would be relayed back to Facebook, right? Again, with all of the enriched information as well. So let's say I go here, I view some content. Let's say I view this particular dog food product. Looks quite nice. And now if I go back to Facebook, for example, to the events manager, yeah, perfect. So I'll be able to see all of the events, right? So the page views, the content view, which is me viewing that particular product, all of this has been sent to Facebook quite accurately. And here you would see that we're sending IP address and user agent. Like I was just talking, like I was just saying, there are three things that are essential, right? You would either need to send an email, a phone, or a combination of IP address and user agent. Now, in this case, since I wasn't logged in, you don't see an email or phone. But let me log back in, or rather log into the store so that you see all of this information also being sent. Just create a dummy account here. I'm just signing in. Now that I've logged in, my email is captured, and I go into the shop. Let's say I view some other product. I view this content. This is also some nice dog food. And if I go back to the events manager, you'll be able to see all of these new events as well, with the view content event containing my IP user agent, of course. Let's see. So the top one. Yeah, the top one, sorry. Yeah. So you'll see the email address, first name, IP address, surname, all of this sent to Facebook, right? So like I was saying, all of these information, when you're sending more and more of it, the event match quality just improve more and more, right? So we can even take a look at that. So if I go over here to the overview section and look at the events that we've sent out. So let's say add payment info, for example, that we sent through to the conversions API, you will see that the event match quality is great, right? We're sending email addresses in 100% of the cases, IP addresses in 100% of the cases, phone number in 20%, browser ID, external ID, all of this. And you'll also be able to see the rating breakdown here, which is 8, which is excellent. So that's what the conversion API allows you to do, right? It allows you to send more and more contextual information. So the algorithms on Facebook, on TikTok, on all your various different ad channels are optimized so that you get the most out of your marketing efforts, and the retargeting works in the most optimal manner.
Awesome. I think this really paves the way for everyone to start believing, and not just the conversions API, but the ability for you to enrich all of this user activity which happens across your website to the lower funnel, and also make sure you switch to server-side tracking mechanisms to be able to understand all of this and have that connection back to your platforms, so that as you grow each and every media platform out there for you to start advertising, this becomes a less hassle for you to manage, so that in the end, our mission is only one thing: making sure that every ad dollar that you put out there yields profit. And in the end, everything that we do in Lifesight is with having that one mission in play for you as an advertiser. So, folks, I hope you had a great session where we primarily covered a lot around what is the conversions API, why you need to move from pixel form of tracking, and why moving forward server-side tracking mechanisms, why investing in a CDP for enrichment, and why when you start, adding more platforms into your stack of advertisements, this becomes an important way for you to reach the customers where they're spending most time, so that they can come back to you and purchase, and not just one-time purchase, but keep purchasing from you, right? So in the end, I hope this gives some sort of confidence for you to go out there, connect your systems, understand how this whole conversions API work. And if you're finding it hard, you really don't have to bother out too much. You can just, connect your system to Lifesight, and we will be able to provide all this for you within a click, primarily, right? So that you can start retargeting in every platform that you're advertising much better, so that your conversions are much better, and in the end, it will lead up for your higher ROAS. So, folks, yeah, so that's primarily it. Thank you so much, Jeevan, for providing an amazing, overview of the platform and the entire concept of conversions API and how does it work. So, folks, if you're looking to primarily have that higher ROAS sorted out for you way before you start investing more into 2024, that can be investing in more channels, that can be investing in more budgets. Please feel free to set this up already, with us, and we will make sure that 2024 starts on a very high conversion note for you. So with that, have a great week, have a great evening. See you all again.
Thank you.